Okay, so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about email now. Now, your email is always going to be accessible at the top here. There's a thing called instant messages where you can actually talk directly with students while they're online. I have found that rather unuseful over the course of the time that I'm doing this because the students tend to look like they're logged in when they're really not paying attention to their computer at all. And for that reason that I just send instant messages out and then they don't respond until like hours later. So I don't find that particularly useful, but email is essential because email is the not at the same time, but still the direct means by which you can address the students individually. And there's a little email program that's in here. I'm not going to go into a great length on how to use it because you guys know how to send email to each other. But everything is accessible in through here, and and you can compose and archive and move all of your materials. And it's really good to just keep all of your interaction with the students in one place so that you know where that's going on. So use your P number email to make sure that everything stays where you need to be. But how do I reach my students, you ask? Well, that has to do with this little feature called the class list, which is under communication at the top of the thing. Now, I'm specifically using a course that doesn't have any students in it because, privacy, but it does have me listed here, so I can at least show the features of the site. This is the class list. Again, you find it under communication, uh, and this is where you'll go. And normally there'll be a list of all of your students in your class that you can get to. And all you have to do is click on them, and then you're immediately emailing that student. Or you can select a number of them and email them specifically. Now, you this particular feature has some other useful things to it that are important for online teaching, though, that I quickly want to point out to you. First of all, I point out to you that at the side here, it indicates the last time that the student accessed the site. So if you look there, you can actually see if the students are coming and looking at your site. And it's not foolproof, it doesn't tell you how long they were on there, but it does at least give you the indication of whether they've seen any of your stuff or whether they've disappeared and you need to go and look for them, uh, and like maybe call home. So that's essentially your attendance, right? Like you don't sweat any individual day necessarily, but if they're not accessing the site, you know that they are not following up on what you're posting. So you should now, the other thing which is super essential for this is the view progress thing, which you can get not by clicking on your name, but clicking on the little down arrow here that gives you gives you the menu. And if you go to view progress, this is really cool because it gives you the ability to see everything that they've done, all the grades they've received, all of the content that they've viewed, which I haven't gone into content, but I can, but eventually it might be useful to you. But the key things that I'm setting you up for is you can see whether they've responded to any of the discussions. So if you have a question about a particular student, rather than going to the discussion forum and having to scroll all the way through, you can just go here and it'll show you whether or not they responded to your thing. Similarly, your assignment, and it can tell you how many they have awaiting grade, how many that have not been graded, and it can give you a sense of how many that they've done altogether. And those are the sort of the main things. The other thing is that if you have questions about how often they're accessing the site, rather than just the one thing that tells you when you're last accessed, you can actually go down to the bottom of the view progress, and you can see how many times they've accessed total, how many and how many times they've logged into the program. So you can actually tell if they're going to their other classes but not yours, because they're logging into D2L but they're not logging into your course. So you can theoretically call them on that, but I always have been very skeptical of this information because I know that it's not infallible. So uh, listen to the students when they explain what they've been doing, but this can definitely be a potential yellow card, or if if they have not been accessing the site or have been doing so infrequently. Okay, here's a quick little supplemental from the future, because this is now after the staff meeting, and someone asked me about how you would add an administrator to your class for the purpose of D2L. So I just wanted to quickly point out that that is using the Add Participants button, which is right here in the blue. And if you click on that and click Add Existing Users, all of the administrators are on the system to some extent. So what you want to do is you want to search for them. Like I've got Colton right here, so I just hit search. I've clicked on last name there so that I can find him. And there's a Colton Mister, because it doesn't have first names here, so I certainly hope that's him. I'm just going to click on that. Now, I would normally set him as an observer. You could throw him in as a student, but then technically you're going to, have signs that he hasn't done his work and stuff like that, and I would find that annoying. And you definitely don't want to make him a teacher, or at least he won't want you to make him a teacher, because then he'll get all of the emails every time your students don't do stuff, or that your people are trying to do stuff through the site. So you don't want to add him as a teacher. You want to put him in as observer, so that he has access to the site but doesn't do anything on it. And then you hit enroll selected users, and you do that for the other two as well. Okay, back to the present. Okay, so that takes you through announcements in the class list. That gives you the ability to put content up there that they can immediately see, so that you can so that you can start your process. Over the course of the next two classes, I will quickly go over discussion forums, and which is the main means by which you can have back and forth discussion with the students, not in real time, and assignments where you can actually give them work to do and get it back and mark it. And we'll do that over the course of Thursday and Friday. So again, if anyone has any comments they'd like to make, they can do it down in the doobly-doo below. And yeah, have a good day. I'll see you at the staff meeting.